Hi everyone. So good to be here again. And today I want to talk about humanitarian entrepreneurs, entrepreneurship. And this is only the part one because I will be talking more about it. But here are the main things that I thought to share that will help you move forward, especially if you are someone who is wanting an entrepreneur journey but have difficulties moving forward, or you already started your entrepreneur journey and you are still tiptoeing. So these are the two people that I'm addressing to, and I'm hoping that you will hear this to understand what is it that's going on that you need to solve to move forward. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I was coaching a client recently, and one of the things that shocked me so much about how she had been trying so many different things for the last 4 years and feeling like she's not getting anywhere with anything. And I was thinking about how can I help my humanitarians, especially those who are starting their entrepreneur journey, where they don't spend that much time trying to get somewhere and never getting there. And if this might be your journey, here is what I would love for you to really contemplate on. What is the main emotion that you're avoiding? If you hadn't, you would actually be on the other side. Because in any humanitarian or any entrepreneur journey, it's not even humanitarian, any entrepreneur journey, this is what happens usually. And I have gone through this so many times, and that's so painful, is that we tend to be so much in the either confused about what we want to do, whether we're starting a business, whether we are selling something, whether we are deciding what to sell. Excuse me. We tend to stay in the confusion or overthinking process so much that we end up spending so much time perfecting things, so much time working on the back end of the business, so much time on how this doesn't work and that doesn't work. And therefore, we just spend a lot of time not going through the main emotion that is stopping us from actually getting to the outcome we want to, right? And that main emotion usually might be something like very uncomfortable fear that keeps stopping us from doing the main thing that we're supposed to do. So how do you even know what's the main thing that you're supposed to do, right? So let's say that you are about to start, or you want to start your own business. The main thing might be figuring out what is it that you want to sell. And this is the question that I keep having a lot from people. They will say, oh my God, I would love to do that, but I don't even know what I would sell, right? So if that's the main question that is stopping you from going to the next level, then obviously you need to solve that as soon as possible. And the only reason why you're not solving it is because, again, fear is saying that if you do solve it and you go to the other side, it will be very scary. So why on earth would you solve it? So you keep staying in this thinking process, the research process, perfecting the background process. You just keep spending a lot of time and energy there so that you don't address the main thing, right? So that's why the question you want to solve that makes you feel very uncomfortable will be, what is it that you are selling? And that we can solve either with my help or with a coach's help or yourself. We can solve it in so many different ways. The problem is often not that we can or cannot solve. The problem is that, are we willing to feel that fear? Are we willing to feel that scariness and discomfort to actually go through the process of deciding this is what I'm selling, this is how I'm selling it, and I feel good about it. We need to get to that stage, right? And in order to get to that stage, we need to be able to allow those emotions to go through our body. And if we're not allowing those emotions to go through our body, then we're not really solving it, and we're not really committing it, and we're not really moving forward. So, if you're someone who has been thinking about starting a business, starting an entrepreneur journey, and you are attracted by a lot of different things, and at the same time you have a lot of questions about it, which is absolutely normal, but in that conversation, instead of spending a lot of time, like I was telling you about my client spending 4 years first figuring out what to do and then figuring out how to do it, and then still feeling like I'm not there where I want to, instead of spending all those 4 years, we may need to recognize that the sooner we go through that uncomfortable feelings, the sooner we go to the other side. Now, again, there will be other uncomfortable feelings, but at least you will have done the part, the solving the main thing, right? So, the first, for those who are thinking about starting an entrepreneur journey, the first problem you want to solve, that is the main problem for many people, is what is it that you are selling, right? So, in other words, what is the offer that we're making to other people? And if your brain says, oh, I don't know what and I don't know how, instead of staying in, I don't know what to sell and I don't know how to sell and I've never been the person who sells and I don't know anything about business, if you keep staying in that inner talk, you will probably not move forward because you're just generating more fear inside you as you think more about how you're not this person and how you cannot do this, how you're not capable of. And all of this will only generate fear. And the more fear you generate, the more stuck you become. And this is how many people go through. As I told you from my own journey, it took me 8 months to get over my bullshit stories. Right? 8 months. Can you imagine? So, in the 8 months, if I had gotten through that in the first 3 months at least, then I would have been far more along. But of course, it took what it took. And my goal is to help people not to do that to themselves, right? So instead of staying in the I don't know what, I don't know how, and da 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 da, start looking at, okay, here are the list of things that I am good at, that I like doing, that I see myself doing long term, and then list all of those skill sets, expertise, competencies, whatever the way you want to call it. Look at them, and then look at, and you can take this from your CV, and I'm assuming that every humanitarian has a CV, so you can take it from your CV and you can look at what you can do with these competencies and skills and the expertise that you like. And what you can do with it is where you start thinking about, okay, these type of skill sets solve this kind of problem, and you start brainstorming. You can do it with AI, you can do it with a coach, you can do it yourself, whichever the way you want to. This is the ways you start going through them. And then the next thing is you want to look at, okay, who would like to get my services or my expertise and pay for it? Who would that person be, or who would that business be, right? So it can be an individual, it can be a business. And if it's a business, then get specific as to what business that is. If it's an individual, again, get specific as to what individual it is. Sometimes with my clients, we're even going through as to which type of humanitarians, because a lot of my clients want to use their humanitarian expertise and support other humanitarians. And even though it's a very beautiful way to approach it, humanitarians may even be a very generic category, and we want to go specific as to who of the humanitarians we are speaking to, right? So it can be as specific as you want it to be. So just to give you an example of my conversation I had with the ads agency that I'm currently in conversation with. I hired an ad agency and they were talking to me about certain things of Facebook ads. And one of the things they were telling me that, yes, even that like when I was telling them that I would love to support humanitarians have the emotional and financial freedom to be independent from the system, and they were telling me, yes, we hear you, but we need to get even more specific, right? And I was like, oh my God, I haven't even thought of how to be even more specific. Anyway, so that's the point. So the what am I going to sell question, you need to solve it as soon as possible. Just to give you a reference, I have helped solve this problem even in one session with some of my clients. So once we solve that problem, then your brain will be probably going into a bit of a defense of saying, oh, but is this really how it is? Or will people really buy this? Or will this really work? And then want to stall you in the process. And that's again normal way of your brain trying to preserve you. I cannot emphasize enough how often that happens. The trick is for you to be onto yourself and know that this is what your brain is doing. Again, everyone's brain does it. The trick is to see that, oh, if I keep staying in this, will this work? Will this not work? Can someone buy it or not? Then what you're really doing is stalling your own growth by leaning into the fear or generating fear again. And we don't want to keep generating fear a lot of the time, because then it becomes so challenging to keep going, right? So that's why instead of keep staying in this, oh, will this work? How will this work? Da, 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 we need to start taking action on actually offering this to the people that we decided to sell to, right? The more we start offering it, the more we get the real feedback from people who may buy or who may not buy. And if they don't, you will also know why and what to do about it. And that's the data we need the most. We don't need the data that says, we don't know what is it they want or don't, right? So then let's say that you are the humanitarian who have done this part of the work where you feel like you are good at solving the what to sell topic. You feel good about what you're offering, you feel good about how much you are charging, and you feel good about who to offer. Then the next category of people, of humanitarians who are going through this entrepreneur journey, may have the problem of tiptoeing. This is the way that I can explain probably the best. Tiptoeing around pricing, tiptoeing around objections, and tiptoeing around sales conversations. And when I say tiptoeing, please don't hear me as if I'm judging you or anything. I just want to bring some hard truth as to how, if we keep tiptoeing, meaning we're not really saying the things the way they are, we will continue having the result that reflects that tiptoeing energy. So, tiptoeing energy comes from being afraid to say openly, this is how I would like to support you, this is how I would like to get paid, these are the results we would create, would you like to do this together? This is the opposite of tiptoeing, right? Tiptoeing is when we keep being afraid of saying those things because we keep making sales conversation something about us, about me, a cell who was rejected by this person and I can't handle it and what can I do, kind of a conversation. Or we keep tiptoeing because we're afraid of being judged by the other person, or we keep tiptoeing because we believe that they cannot afford our price anyway, so we should lower it. And when we lower it, they still don't buy, and we feel like, okay, now I have nothing, and obviously this doesn't work. And then we go into another spiral. So, tiptoeing, if you notice yourself, if you see yourself tiptoeing or decreasing your prices or having a lot of conversation inside your brain about how this not working, how that's not working, how you should have had the money now and you don't, and it's not stable, and all of this, know that the reason why that's happening is because you are still in not willing to go through the fear and other uncomfortable feelings of staying true to what is it that you're offering and how. And staying true to what is it that you are offering and how you're offering, and feeling scared, and still be genuine and say, this is how I would like to do things, and this is how I could help you the best, is the way to remove all of this instability and pricing problems and money problems and all of this. And the sooner you go through the phase of from tiptoeing, dabbling, barely making anything happen, barely this, barely that, to no, this is how I do things, this is how I support the best, this is how I would like to get paid. And let us look at what makes you hesitate to work with me, what makes you unsure to work with me, so that we see if it's the right fit for you. And that level of grounded, confident, genuine energy is what makes a difference. And the sooner you figure out how to act and have the sales conversation from that place, instead of from can I do this or can I not do this? Will they afford my prices or will they not? What happens if they don't? Shall I lower it or not? If you stay in this confused or uncertain energy, then the outcome will continue being confused or uncertain. And this is coming from someone who has been doing this in so many variations in the last almost 6 years. So, my dears, in the humanitarian entrepreneur journey, whatever your journey is, the best thing you can do for yourself, for your entrepreneur journey, is solve the hardest problems first. Whatever that feels hard, solve them first. And many successful entrepreneurs, business owners would also tell you that the more you get used to doing the hard stuff first, everything else becomes easy. And I would really invite you to my Transitioning Humanitarians community, which is the combo of group and individual coaching, which, by the way, we're going to have another one tomorrow. I would like for you to come to that community where we solve these major issues, so that you no longer battle or have problems with, can I make 1K work, can I make 2K work a month, can I even get to whatever the money I can. Instead of being in that state, I would like for us to go to, this is how I make 1K a month, this is how I make 2K a month, now here are the ways for me to go to more, and start solving for them, rather than keep solving for the initial hurdles that we keep avoiding feeling uncomfortable, keep avoiding feeling fear, keep avoiding feeling judged, and therefore not being in the outcome that you want to and not experiencing it. So if you don't want to spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort in how do I do this, whether I do this, what do I do, da, da, da. Instead, going into here are the main problems I'm solving, here is how I'm solving, here is how I'm getting help if I need to, and here is the outcomes I'm creating. If you go to that energetic and identity level shift and take action from that place, then you will also create the outcomes you want to. So if you would like my help, come join my community, and you know what to do. It's the description below. Have a beautiful week, everyone. Talk to you soon.